On today's episode of the Fumblerooski podcast, it's NFL Championship weekend. Patriots head to Denver to take on Jarrett Stidham and the Broncos, and the Seahawks look to get the job done against MVP favorite Matthew Stafford. This is the Fumblerooski podcast.
It may not have always showed it in the stat sheet, but you can see him making throws when he needs to make the throws.
Back-to-back games where he has 3 touchdowns. Someone's got to get that 6 or 7 spot.
He's an elite wide receiver as a rookie.
Truly a lose-lose scenario for both sides.
Welcome to the Fumblerooski podcast by Power 88 Radio and Secret Weapon Consulting. I'm Chris Costich, and we got CJ, we got Adam, and we got special guest Rob from Patriots. PATRIO7S. Rob, thanks for joining the pod today.
Appreciate y'all having me.
Got a good one for us in store, and obviously NFL Championship weekend. And boy, the storylines just write themselves, and this is what makes football amazing. I just love football so much. Let's start with the AFC Championship, since that's the 3:00 game, and lo and behold, we're all Pats fans, so it makes even better sense to do that. Obviously the big story for this weekend, Jarrett Stidham, the starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos, with Bo Nix having the broken ankle and done for the rest of the playoffs. I'm still thinking about just that 1 hour span of the Broncos winning that game. And then an hour later, Bo Nix, Sean Payton's up at the podium and saying he's done for the rest of the playoffs. Just one of the more surreal moments, I think, that we have really seen in the NFL, and at least in recent memory. Patriots are 4.5-point favorites on the road, which, well, Vegas ended up giving a point back to Denver for this week, opened up at 5.5. But one of the other big storylines too, of course, is, well, Drake May. And the reality really is, well, it's the schedule, it's the week this, the week that. But the other reality is that Drake May has a chance to do something that no other quarterback has done, which is beat 3 top 5 defenses in the league en route to a Super Bowl. Texans and Chargers both top 5. I think Texans were top 3. Denver, of course, being the best defense in the league. I could have that a little bit mixed up, but either way, still top 5 defenses, and could be a very historical bout at that. But in terms of the game, Rob, we'll start with you. Opening thoughts, and how are we feeling going into this weekend?
They're going to blow the doors off them. Look, at the end of the day, Sean Payton and just about every Broncos player is just giving bulletin board material. And we're hearing all the noise, schedule this, schedule that. I don't give a crap, personally. At the end of the day, it's just like the ball has to be played, and Jarrett Stidham hasn't touched the football in 3 years and played against a starting caliber team. I don't care what he did with the Raiders. I don't care if he practiced in his backyard. At the end of the day, this is live action, and he hasn't played all year. The preseason doesn't count to me. You're going to be going in the AFC Championship. It's going to be a shock in the system, and then you're going against one of the best defenses in football. I don't care. Like, it's something that really bothers me is that Broncos fans, I've seen too much content on the internet about how J.K. Dobbins, and they're like snickering. It's like, yeah, you guys don't know what you're getting into. So J.K. Dobbins is all of a sudden better than Bijan Robinson. J.K. Dobbins is all of a sudden better than James Cook. I want to know what the hell is in their Kool-Aid, because at the end of the day, when Milton Williams is healthy and you have Robert Spillane also as a linebacker and told that part of the defense, they did not get over 49 yards. So if you can't do that against a defense like this, and you become one-dimensional, and you have a quarterback that has been known to turn over the ball and have a little bit of happy feet, what the hell are you going to do? You become one-dimensional, and you can't run the ball, and you can't bleed out the clock, and a defense is punching you in the mouth consistently. I would like to know what you can do, because that offensive line is spectacular. But you still played you only won by 2 points against the Jets. You had a miraculous fourth quarter comeback against the Giants. I'm telling you right now, you can mark it down right now. They're going to blow the doors off them.
I like it. I love the confidence, Rob, because that's more than what I've been feeling. That's for sure. Because the problem with me,
that's just indigestion, dude. That you need some Pepto-Bismol.
I might. I don't know. Maybe it's because that the Pats, even during the Brady era, could never beat Denver in the playoffs, 0-3 to be more exact. And I guess that's still in the back of my mind, but maybe I'm also 0-4. 0-4.
Yeah, but how is that relative to now? Because we've been hearing about all these things that, I mean, Mike Vrabel in his first year had already passed the landmark for most wins as a Patriots head coach in the first year. So we're already hitting precedents.
Yeah.
So we can't go based off of previous years because we don't know. We don't know if they could beat them in Denver. We don't know if that's even going to affect us. And with this constant bulletin board material, I'm sorry for cutting you off. With this constant bulletin board material, I mean, Keishan Butte recently just came out and said that, hey, listen, they were talking about they're going to have 2 weeks to rest. He's like, oh, they can rest in Cancun.
Well, did you hear what Patrick Surtain said in response to that? It's just going back and forth now.
I personally don't care because their defense is – when they verse top quarterbacks, they have given up 30 points per game. They beat up on bad teams. Meanwhile, we beat up on good teams. What did we hear about this Texans team? The great historic defense. What did we hear about the Chargers team coming into this? What did we do to both these teams? I'll leave it at that. You guys can.
Well said, Adam. Well, you spoke.
Go
next.
to CJ.
Okay, CJ.
No, go to Adam. Go to
Someone
Adam.
go, damn it.
All right, fine. I guess it's going to be me. Once again, much like you said, Rob, I, like Chris, probably got some of the indigestion in me. For me, look, Denver, look, the past aside, the past, even that, let's just say it doesn't matter. Denver is still like a notoriously tough place to play. You know, the high altitude breeds funny. I don't know if you guys watched the podcast Dudes on Dudes with Jules and Gronk. You had both Edelman and Gronkowski saying how much of a hellscape Denver is to play in. And another thing, too, that Denver has going for them is we all know this. We're all fans. You've all been watching for years. Games are won and lost in the trenches. Garrett Bowles and Quinn Miners both have above 90 PFF grades. And I know we're probably all not the biggest PFF fans, but they're only good for grading linemen. And let's be honest, that's about it. And in you other guys like Powers and Wittenberg and McGlinchey, they're all still pretty good. I want to see that New England front get pressure on Stidham, which I think they can. And my weakness, I think, for New England, which feels weird to say, the offensive line, like especially the left side with Campbell and Wilson, they've been getting pushed around like cinder blocks on skates. It's been really weird to see because Campbell, I don't think it's his arms. I don't think it's his foot placement. I don't think it's his hands. I just think it's that he's a rookie. It's the same thing for Jared Wilson, too, although he's just had more ups and downs.
I hope it's his knee.
Oh, yeah.
I hope it's his knee and he's not just struggling. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So going against Nick Bonito, who's a known speed rusher, could be a bit of a problem. Jonathan Cooper has also cooled off, so I have full confidence that Morgan Moses is going to be able to handle him. But as a whole, though, what's his name there? In the middle there, Jones. That's it. Jones is also he's a bit of a gamer too. Surtain, of course, you're kind of going to have to employ that throw wherever Surtain is not. But they got burnt toast Riley Moss on the other side. I don't know how many Broncos games you've watched, but Riley Moss is awful.
Walking DPI too.
Unironically, yeah.
Say, wasn't there a stat that he has the most DPIs on him this year, or am I thinking of a different guy?
I think you hit it right on the head. And you know who's in second is Carlton Davis. So get ready to yell at you.
I'm gonna do a lot of
the DPI bowl. Hell yeah. So what scares me for Denver the most, though, is the fact they have 71 sacks on the year. And, you know, we've seen Drake May fumble a lot in these playoffs. But the thing is, it's not like he's turtling in the pocket, bracing for the hit and, and losing the ball. No, he's getting hit while he's throwing. He's cocking his arm back and the defender's just kind of poking the ball out, which we can say May is to feel the pressure. And maybe that's true, but a lot of that's just on the line. Like if you're getting hit while you're throwing, then you're off. Then I don't know what to tell you. As a whole, God help me. I am begrudgingly tilting Denver, probably by 1. I low-key think we're going to be in for a really ugly game because Stidham, I think he'll be a game manager, but I also think he's going to make his mistakes. But if he does win this game, then once he leaves Denver and has to play at a neutral site, he's going to get stomped. So it is what it is.
Adam?
Let's be clear. When people make the argument that Bo Nix is an average to above average quarterback and then turn around and say, without Bo Nix, you can't win this game, that's an oxymoron. If you really believe that Bo Nix is an average to above average quarterback, which I don't think he is, I think he's actually a pretty solid quarterback. I don't think he has the same abilities as the other kids from his draft, from the draft class, especially from the other sideline. If we're betting on Jarrett Stidham to just make one start where he's just average to above average, let's be clear about the Broncos. No one is looking at the Broncos and saying they're afraid of Bo Nix. When they look at the Broncos, they look at the overall team. I've made this argument all season long in favor of the Broncos being a formidable team to beat in the playoffs. Elite offensive line, good offensive mind in Sean Payton, borderline, I would say Hall of Famer, elite defense, and arguably the best home field advantage in football. You could say Arrowhead, but I would say the thin air really brings really puts them over the top. And when you bring up that it's a tough place to play in, when you bring up the fact that the Patriots as a franchise are 0-4 in that stadium, if you want to say the 80s one is irrelevant, sure, I completely agree. But the fact that Brady's 0-3, it highlights that it's a tough place to play in. It's just extremely hard to play in. So when you look at those two factors, and I don't love the back and forth between the Broncos and the Patriots right now. I think this is an easy game to overlook. I would tilt the Patriots, but something about this young team just has me feeling uneasy. Denver's a very tough place to play in, and I would lean the Broncos, but I would look at this game as a coin flip. I think I'll give you this pro Patriots thought. I think we're going to find out very early on how this game is going to go. If Jarrett Stidham looks terrible early in the game, I don't think he's rebounding from that. He has to start fast. If the Patriots start out poorly, I think they have a chance to rebound from that because they've done that before. They've played a lot of their best football in the second half, even at the end of the second quarter. They've really executed that double score very well. I think I give the Broncos a much narrower path to win this game, but they still have a path, and it's prominent. And there's a reason why it's one of the best home field advantages in all of football. So there's my case right there.
Can I just say real quick, they're pedestrian for about 3/4 of the game. I don't think you can play pedestrian against this because you're not going to be able to win playing good again. And I think that the Patriots defense is hitting on all cylinders at the right time. And if Stidham is good, it's not going to be good enough. They're going to need great.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off, but can I just get a clarification on their pedestrian, the team, or is it Bo Nix?
Their offense in general. Their offense in general is just pedestrian. And this is my biggest thing. You just as you said it, it's an oxymoron. That's also Denver Broncos fans showing their ass because they're saying, "Hey, listen, well, it's not that much of a step down." So if you're going to go and say it's not that much of a step down, how are you comparing Bo Nix to Drake May?
I didn't.
No, but I'm just saying Denver Broncos fans because they're saying that like it's not that much of a drop off if we have Jarrett Stidham in as opposed to Bo Nix. So they can't have their cake and eat it too.
Well, yeah, that's the argument I made. You can't say both things at once. It's a lot of the people who said who said Bo Nix is average, that he's just an okay quarterback, and then turn around and say, well, Jarrett Stidham can play just as well as Bo Nix is. You know what I mean? Like, you can't say that without the player that you can't win, and then turn around and say Bo Nix is out. That player is just an average player, especially since you went 14-3. Like, you can't go 14-3 if you're not a good team, especially if your quarterback is just average to above average.
So this is the thing that bothers me too. Who has the second easiest schedule in the NFL? It's the Denver Broncos. It's the Denver Broncos. So when they have versed elite quarterbacks, and I would consider Drake May elite quarterback. I mean, he's in the MVP discussion.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree.
So when they have gone against elite quarterbacks, they have gotten torched. And if Drake May, I'm sorry, like, I don't put the Texans and the Broncos. Yes, they can get to the quarterback, but in terms of just an overall defense, the Texans is way better. So if Drake May even has a sliver more time, and he can play because he threw 3 touchdowns against that Texans defense, could have had more if he just would have get a little bit more time in the pocket. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, didn't. Regardless, if they're giving up 30 points per game, pretty much around that, to elite quarterbacks, what do you think is going to happen when you have to account for it? Because, like, where are the Patriots weak? Where are their weaknesses?
Well, which elite quarterbacks did they get torched by outside of Josh Allen?
I'd have to really think about that, but there was a stat that they gave up like 30 points to like elite quarterbacks.
Do some searching real quick.
They
I thought it was above 500 teams.
They gave up 19 to Patrick Mahomes. They did give up 34 to Trevor Lawrence, if you want to call him elite.
I mean, he's had an elite season.
Yep.
Yeah, this year, yes, absolutely.
They gave up 3 to Justin Herbert and the Chargers. I wouldn't call him elite, but he's a solid.
He's definitely
player.
not.
Division rival, I'll call it.
32 against
but they also
Jackson
split so the Chargers also beat them earlier in the year. They did, however, beat the Eagles. Eagles scored 17 points on them.
I mean, Jalen Hurts is running back at this point.
Yeah, I was about to say that could be a conversation. I don't know if we're even considering him elite.
And that I will say that divisional round. I know that the Bills are rivals, but that game was a coin flip, and Josh Allen turned it over 3 times.
4.
So that is a factor there. And
And they still put up how much?
30.
They did put up 30.
Okay.
Whether we like it or not, our current quarterback has turned the ball over a few times.
Oh yeah.
Which is, look, he's a young kid. Those tend to have fumbling issues, but we're not looking towards the future when he's a veteran. We're looking towards now when the Patriots are, like it or not, in championship contention. So that is something to pay attention to. I hope the kid and Josh McDaniels are working on their ball security, because turnovers are the great equalizer when it comes to playoff football. If they fall into more turnover trouble, then that could put the game in jeopardy right there.
I don't know if you saw the video clip from today. I believe they were doing drills where Drake May, and they were doing like a time clock, and they're having him get the ball out quick. So they're working on it. But you named the 2 quarterbacks. So was there any more? Because when we're saying elite, I'm thinking top 8.
So we did bring up Josh Allen. We did bring up Patrick Mahomes. So there's 2 right there.
Trevor Lawrence, I think, has been elite this season.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, this season.
100%.
Okay. Yeah, we can include that one. But I mean, overall, like they've had a really good defense this year. So all I'm saying is, I'm just showing respect to our adversaries before we face them. I'm not a big fan of trash talking the team that we're about to face, because, I mean, think about this argument. This is one that it's a pet peeve of mine. So let's say you talk trash about a team that you're about to face. You beat the team, and then you brag about it. Well, you just said that team was really bad. You badmouthed them. So why not, if you build them up, if they're, this is one of the better defenses in the league, 3 times facing a top 5 defense, in the same postseason. No team has beaten 3 top 5 defenses in the same playoffs. That would be a great achievement for the Patriots. And I'm definitely not bad-mouthing this Broncos defense that has Jonathan Cooper, Nick Bonito, and that Allen kid on the interior who I believe he's a BC product, by the way, is able to break through. They're a formidable defense.
I think,
and their offensive line is elite too.
I think my biggest thing is I'm not so much trashing them as opposed to what I'm trying to bring up, the fact that like this guy hasn't touched a football in 3 years. That's why, because it's like a dam. At some point it's going to break. So at some point he's going to have to make a special play. And can he bring that out of him when he's played so little football? Look, I've seen miracles happen. I mean, we've seen Rocky. We've seen what Nick Foles has done. But Nick Foles had an extensive more of a portfolio of games that he's played with. This guy has played 4 games. And he hasn't played a snap in 2 years. So that's why I'm getting it's. Look, they can definitely beat us. It's in Mile High, like you said. My biggest thing is the guy hasn't taken a snap in 2 years, and I don't count preseason. But we'll see.
No, I agree. I mean, when you obviously we can have all the doubts in the world about it, but Broncos have a great defense. We're going to Mile High, but it's also Jarrett Stidham. The one pass that Jarrett Stidham threw in his time in New England when he was backing up Brady was a pick 6. We talked about it on Tuesday too. So that's how I see that. And of course, when you bring up the one win, you also have to bring up the fact that one was against the 49ers defense, which was the top defense in the league as well at that time. But I think everyone makes some great points. I'm going Patriots, of course, too. I mean, you shitting me? Who do you think I am?
Also, Josh McDaniels had him not once but twice, and he wanted him a third time, according to reports. They wanted him when he first came back, when Josh McDaniels first came back. So there's something that he wants to get out of him, or he has so much experience with Josh McDaniels that he just wants a backup who kind of understands the McDaniels offense.
Well, what was it that
but he's wanted him multiple times, but he's only ever been wanted as a backup. So if he's a guy who's making $6 million as a backup and he's brought in to win one game, I obviously feel, if I'm a Broncos fan, I feel much better if it's just a regular season game or a few. But the championship game, we're only asking him to win one game, a game in which they're home, and you have a defense that is capable of keeping games close. So if the groundwork is there for Jarrett Stidham, if he has a good game to potentially win it, if things go right, and the Patriots are right to be favored, and they should win. I'm just looking at a lot of different factors that this young Patriots team, things could go wrong.
Yeah. I think his Jarrett Stidham's agent was, I think his spiel or his pitch for Jarrett Stidham, either to Vrabel or Peyton, one of the two. I think it was when Vrabel was trying to sign him. But I think the pitch was, if you don't want your quarterback getting hurt, this is who you sign.
Yeah.
Anything else from this game that we want to touch on?
Who to the equivalent does he have as far as Devontae Adams or Jacoby Myers? Because that's the game that he had like an exorbitant amount of yards.
His equivalent at that point would be Cortland Sutton and Troy Franklin, I'd say.
And I don't think that Jacoby Myers was there. I think their top pass catchers were Devontae Adams and
Jacoby
Darren
Myers
Waller
was still on the Pats at that point. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so he definitely had Devontae Adams. I misspoke. But who else did he have?
That's a great question. Who else?
Yeah, like Darren Waller.
Darren Waller.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Darren Waller's was
Josh
still
Jacobs.
a stud. Josh Jacobs, who's going to match up to that like who's going to be that type of level?
Equivalent? The closest one would be RJ Harvey. And you mentioned J.K. Dobbins earlier too. Like they just opened up the practice window, and it's like, so don't even know if he's even going to be available.
He's got a Liz Frank injury, and he's trying to make a comeback that usually it's a injury that lasts 3 months. So
There's also here's another pro Patriots thought. Now that we're on the running backs, they have so the Broncos do have an elite offensive line. This is probably the best offensive line that the Patriots have faced besides Buffalo. And the last time Milton Williams and Robert Spillane were healthy, they were able to not only contain James Cook, but they were able to also get to Josh Allen on the interior, which is arguably, not even arguably, it is the best part of the Patriots front seven. If Milton Williams can find a way to break through that interior line, which it looks like there's a really good chance they get their starting center back from IR. If he can break through, I'm not sure if Jarrett Stidham can survive that. The only reason I'm skeptical is because this is the best offensive line in football. But Milton Williams has been tested before. Let's see what happens there.
Mm-hmm.
but you still have Corey Durden, Elijah Ponder, Kairos Tonga. It's like a NASCAR package. So, like, how much beating could that center take?
I agree.
Find out.
It's the only reason that I'm skeptical of the other guys is it seems like they all play their best when they have Milton Williams there, because they were all there during the same span of time where the Patriots defense kind of fell apart during the latter half of the season. So they're still effective pieces, but they're all rotational pieces. I mean, Christian Barmore was not nearly the same player once Milton Williams went down to IR. Same thing with Corey Durden. Same thing with Kairos Tonga. They lost their players, and then once they lost their best player in that interior, and that made the other ones worse. So the fact that Milton Williams is back, in essence, huge for the Patriots. Spillane being back is also massive. If they win, they are going to be X factors in this game.
There's one thing I'd like to add. It's not even like about the game. It's just Denver fans. I just want to point out, we were talking about hypocrisy earlier. I want to bring this up. Denver fans, I'm sure you've seen, have been talking egregious amounts of shit online and say, oh, you're not ready for Jarrett Stidham. You don't have any film on him. You know, kind of like what you guys were saying, or at least you, Rob, were saying. And how much are you willing to bet with how much they've been gassing him up and how they're circulating that alleged story that he made the Broncos defense look bad earlier in the year? How much are you willing to bet that if they lose, they're going to have a nuclear temper tantrum and cry and whine about we win if we have Bo Nix? The duality of man is bad to be frightening.
One last thought before we go to the next conference championship. I've heard a ton of gassing up from that Broncos team of Jarrett Stidham, and good for them, because that's what you're going to need it. That's what they should be doing. But how much of it do you think is artificial? Because if you guys if you guys heard that one clip of Sean Payton, not the part where he's saying you're going to get 2.5 weeks of rest. It's the portion where he says that Stidham's going to rip it, that he's going to throw it all over the field. It sounds confident when you read it on words, but if you listen to his tone of voice, he looks defeated. He does not look like he has much confidence, and he seems like he's of the mindset that they're throwing a Hail Mary with Stidham being out there.
He looked, after he said that they had 2 weeks off, he looked like he was about to backtrack. That's what it sounded like. And Aqib Talib, by the way, also came out and said that like he watched them play against the ones. Now, if he does nothing, that's not gonna look good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that the fact that Sean Payton has a nickname for him says enough. All right, let's wrap this, John, up. It's going to be a fun game. It's going to be a fun game to watch, I think, still. All right, let's move on to the next game. We're going to take a quick break first. When we come back, we'll get into the NFC Championship. The Seahawks taking on the Rams. This is the Fumblerooski podcast.
It may not have always showed it in the stat sheet, but you can see him making throws when he needs to make the throws.
Back-to-back games where he has 3 touchdowns. Someone's got to get that 6 or 7 spot.
He's an elite wide receiver as a rookie.
Truly a lose-lose scenario for both sides.
Welcome back to the Fumblerooski podcast. Let's get into our NFC Championship game. The Seahawks, 2.5-point favorites at home against the Los Angeles Rams. Well, kind of two sides of a different coin here in terms of this matchup. You look at the Seahawks, and they just got done putting belt to ass on the 49ers last week. Wasn't even a game. And then on the other side, you got the Rams going into Chicago and winning ugly. We'll call it ugly just because, this was snow. Offenses weren't doing great. Both defenses looked like the freaking 85 Bears, no pun intended. But I feel like this is also going to be like the two games that we saw in the regular season are great precursors for what we're going to see on Sunday night. And even when you look at the stats too, the head-to-head matchup between these two teams, it's almost identical. And the difference between these two teams as well is literally 2 points in the two games that they played against each other. It's pretty insane. So I think this is also going to be a barn burner. The thing that I'm curious about is how the Rams will handle this type of cold. You talk about Chicago cold, Seattle cold, obviously it's not as ridiculous. But when you think about the way that the Rams played in that game, making the Chicago Bears look like the 85 Bears of the past, and the way that Sean McVay kind of called that game, you kind of wonder how it's going to go against the Seahawks, especially with we talked about it even before this time last week before that game against the Niners. The Seahawks have shown that you could have a bad day or a mediocre day from Sam Darnold, and they're still going to find a way to win. So that's kind of how I sort of view this, but I'll pass it off to you guys. Rob, since you're our guest, I'll let you have the first crack at this as well.
So I look at both quarterbacks, and I feel like they're just like both like Jekyll and Hyde. It's like, what version are you going to get of Matt Stafford? What version are you going to get of Sam Darnold? Sam Darnold recently came out and said he's basically, if he sees someone open, he's going to let it rip. He's playing with house money. Meanwhile, Matt Stafford, MVP frontrunner, right? He's got all the chips at the casino right in front of him. He's putting all on red, putting all on black, whatever it may be. All the pressure's on him. Sam Darnold's playing with house money. Nobody's even expecting him to even make it this far. I mean, like, the fact that this guy has won 14 games in back-to-back seasons, and the only quarterback to do that was Tom Brady, is pretty remarkable. So he really, whatever he does is just extra. So all the pressure is going to fall on Matt Stafford and the Rams, and they have not played good as of late. Dropping one to Atlanta, playing really close to a not so great Panthers team. So, like, what version of Matt Stafford are we going to get? Because Sam Darnold really could just sling it all across the field. I have more faith in the Seahawks than I do it with the Rams, because the Rams tend to, it's not saying anything bad about other teams, but they tend to play down to the competition.
100%.
They're not. If you get the best version of the Rams, they are an absolute problem. The problem is we haven't seen that version of the Rams for a while, and it seems that Matt Stafford is dealing with some kind of lingering issue. We've seen him bounce his hand off a defender's helmet. He doesn't seem right, but maybe that's just me overanalyzing.
Could be not. I mean, I'm with you as well. I'm favoring the Seahawks in this game as well, because I feel like they're just more all around sound. And the way that, like, never mind Stafford, what kind of game we're going to get out of Stafford, but what kind of game are we even going to get out of the Rams defense? This has been one of the more inconsistent units that we've seen, or at least amongst the playoff teams. This Rams defense is one of the more inconsistent units that we've seen to end the regular season, to start the postseason. You don't really know what you're going to get out of them either. The whole team feels like a mixed bag, when really, when we were at week 10, everyone was talking about the Rams as the Super Bowl favorites, that they were gangbusters, this and that. And Now feels like a little bit of a different story. Would you agree with that?
Maybe it's that the fact that they were sipping their own Kool-Aid, because I feel like
Yeah.
once you punch them in the mouth, they don't respond well. They do not respond well. They usually, when you punch them in the mouth, i.e. Atlanta Falcons, i.e. the Panthers, they don't respond well. And Matt Stafford turns into Nathan Peterman.
That is quite the swing of comparison right there, Nathan. I would have never.
Well, I'm not
thought to hear
saying.
Matt Stafford.
I'm just
Nick
saying
Saban.
from like a turnover perspective,
Yeah, no,
he
I
starts
agree.
to become very inaccurate, and he starts to have happy feet in the pocket. He's a very good quarterback. Hell, I probably would give him the MVP this season just because of his gaudy numbers and his stat padding. But the guy, like, when he starts to get happy feet, throwing the ball in triple coverage, and it's just like, I don't know if you can do that against a Seahawks team that like is playing with house money. They're not expected to win this game, even if it is in Seattle.
Yeah. CJ, what says you?
Well, this game's for all the marbles, isn't it, folks? You know, they split the season series. It all comes down to this one last game for the crown of the NFC in Seattle. I tell you what, the script writers really cooked with this one. So first, let's break down the Rams, as we've been saying. Yeah, Stafford in the weather has been, to put it very mildly, iffy. And, you know, like you said, you know, Seattle's going to be cold. Is it going to be Chicago cold? Probably
I'm checking
not.
it right now. 44 degrees, I believe, at kickoff.
All right.
Seattle's
Is it
never
gonna be any
cold.
weather
It's
or
such a fake cold place.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it depends. The Pacific Northwest is known for its rain. So if it's a weather game, that could definitely be a problem. Because come rain or snow, Stafford plays well in neither. And something that I've noticed about the Rams is that I would say at least 60% of their offensive production comes from Puka Nacua. So basically, especially with Stafford, you're literally hoping that Puka does not have an off game, because if he does, it's gonna be a rough one. And we were talking about that Rams defense and why they disappeared. I have a solution. The front seven, I think, is very good, elite even at times. You know, with guys like Byron Young, Braden Fisk, Jared Verse, etc. But I don't like that back four. That back four gets burned. And let me tell you something. A lot of times, that front seven really hides how bad the back four is, because we've seen that when the Rams can't get pressure on the quarterback, that back four completely collapses. Now let's talk about Seattle. Look, maybe I'm just letting the name get too much into my head. I can tell you that's happened. I'm that kind of guy. But Sam Darnold, hey, he could very well be the first quarterback from that 2018 class to go to a Super Bowl. Crazy world we live in. But some of his worst games have come against the Rams. Even the one where they came back and won, he was turning the ball over a lot. Got to the point where the old McDonald's meme came back. The worst version of Sam Darnold comes out against the Rams. It happened even when he was on the Vikings, and it happened twice now this year. And one of the, now look, we love JSN, right? Rashid Shaheed is a speedster. But one of the sneaky good parts of that Seattle offense is that two-headed monster they have at running back, Kenneth Gainwell and Zach Charbonnet. Except Kenneth Walker. Oh my God. Wow. Unreal.
Charbonnet is also done too. He's got
I know.
Kenneth Walker.
You stole my point from me. But that's what I was going to say. So the two-headed monster just got a head chopped off. So, and if you stop Kenneth Gainwell, oh my God, Kenneth Walker. I only say this because
how the hell do you know the bad one better than the
Hawks all of his touchdowns? If you had either in fantasy, you know, because I had Charbonnet and I reaped the benefit from him taking all Walker's touchdowns. So if you stop Kenneth Walker, then their run game practically dies, because they kind of have their own version of Sonic and Knuckles, you know, like they have in Detroit with Montgomery and Gibbs. So if one of them doesn't play well, then you've always got the other to pick up the slack. Now it's just one. And George Holani is their RB3. And if he scares you, I don't know what to tell you, man. So if Kenneth Walker gets stopped, they become one-dimensional, and then you can freely double Jackson Smith and Jigba. I think this is going to be the game where McDonald's reopens, to quote the meme, and give me the Rams in a shootout.
Shootout. Adam, what says you?
I agree with the analysis on both of these teams individually from you guys. Individually. But when they face each other, being division rivals is the great equalizer. They face each other twice a year, and they collectively, head-to-head, have a 1-point difference. The first game was decided by 2 points. The other game decided by 1 point. These two games have been wars. And this is a game where I'm actually, just as a football fan, I'm extremely excited to watch this game because I do think this is going to be a war. And the problem I had with the Seahawks, if it weren't Sam Darnold playing, if it weren't Sam Darnold at quarterback and it was just it was an actual elite quarterback, I'd say this is the slam dunk favorite to win the Super Bowl. But it's Sam Darnold. It's Sam Darnold over there. And just thinking about, I've said this on the show before, but just thinking in my head, the thought of him raising a Lombardi trophy, even just a conference championship trophy, just looks photoshopped.
It's weird.
And at least Stafford has actually gotten there. I think it's a big equalizer, the fact that these two are division rivals. And one way or another, whether it's this round or next round, Sam Darnold is going to ruin this season for the Seahawks. And Stafford has at least won one, so he's at least been there. And Sean McVay has been there and won one. Mike McDonald and Sam Darnold have not. In fact, Sam Darnold has a massive choking problem. Even as he has turned around in the last 2 years, his performances has become actually a pretty good quarterback. He has a massive choking problem against teams above 500. The only reason that I think this is going to be a war is because Darnold has been kind of coming out of it of late. He just won a postseason game. His first playoff win. Congrats to Sam Darnold. He first came out of it where it really caught my eye was that Thursday night football game. And it was sloppy. You could clearly tell that he was fighting some things, but he scraped the stuff together that he absolutely needed to do. He made the throws that he needed to make when he absolutely needed to make them, and they won the game. One could say it was a collective effort because the Seahawks defense also forced 4 straight LA punts, which was huge to end overtime. And yes, Sam Darnold Matthew Stafford marched right back down the field to start overtime to score the touchdown. But then Darnold did it. And then he completed the 2-point. That where I was like, all right, okay, Sam. I think this is going to be a very close game. And I'm just going to lean the better quarterback here, which is Matthew Stafford. I think the Rams go on to the Super Bowl. And that's where they'll have a very good chance to win the title.
Well, history would be on your side, considering the Rams have won 4 of the last 6 played in Seattle. But Seahawks are 17-8 against the Rams all-time in this all-time series. Anything else we want to touch on from this game? I feel like we're only scraping at the barrel at this one.
We pretty much all have the same take. It's just
true. Mm-hmm. Rob, who'd you pick again? You picked the Seahawks?
I'm picking Seattle just because as of late, seeing Matt Stafford, he just doesn't look right. But then again, Darnold can turn into a pumpkin. And the clock can strike 12. I could be very much wrong on this one.
I think we could all be very wrong on this. That's for sure.
Every game up in the playoffs right now is just a toss-up. It's just
It is.
it's just execution. It's every game's gonna come to inches.
Yeah, this is one just as a football fan where I'm like, this is going to be a good one, and something controversial is something crazy is gonna happen at the end, and we're all just gonna be talking about it for 2 days straight. So,
But I do have to say, I do agree with you that if Sam Darnold does make it to the Super Bowl, no matter who comes out of the AFC is winning the Super Bowl.
you think the Broncos are?
I think whoever comes out of the AFC, if it's not Matt Stafford out of the NFC, will win the Super Bowl. Look, it sounds crazy, but Stidham, if he does pull off this against the Patriots, that's all you need, man. A little bit of confidence.
Think about that. 2 years prior, if somebody were to tell me that the Super Bowl matchup would be the Jarrett Stidham Broncos versus the Sam Darnold Seahawks, something went horribly wrong, some sort of apocalypse, but here we are. Football's crazy, man.
Some kindergartner just took random helmets and started putting them on the desk and be like, these two teams are going to verse each other, and just these two teams happen to have Jarrett Stidham and Sam Darnold.
And only the Patriots can break that curse.
Imagine even better if it's a Stidham Darnold Super Bowl and they both turn back into pumpkins and the game's like 3-0.
It's like
8 combined interceptions.
Yeah.
What you laugh, but that can very much happen.
That's the problem. It could very well happen.
It's so within the realm of possibilities. The part I hate.
The touchdowns come from the defense. Like, it's just like, what the hell am I watching?
Look, like I said, every dog has its day. So while I joke about the fact that it even looks photoshopped in my head, he did win that Thursday night football game did impress me. And I know it's Thursday night football, but if he has it in him in a big moment to go out and win himself a big game, I mean, it might be out there somewhere, especially against the Broncos. Jarrett Stidham kind of blows. So
Now he's coming around to it.
I'm just saying that he's capable of one game. I didn't say 2.
Who knows? Maybe he is capable of 2. I mean,
Say it with me. Sam Darnold, Super Bowl champion. It sounds like a freaking Cirque du Freak type crap.
Yeah.
Super Bowl MVP.
No.
Now the real question.
Now you need to get drug tested.
The real question I feel like we should be asking is, what's the reaction from Jets fans if he does end up winning? Never mind making the Super Bowl, but winning the Super Bowl. If you're a Jets fan, you're probably feeling like shit.
I'm telling you right now.
Down too.
I am telling you right now. If the Patriots lose this game, I am, and the Seahawks win theirs, I'm cheering because I just want to see them just squirm.
Yeah.
Because the amount of Jets fans somehow in my mentions, your franchise is abysmal, and you drafted Geno Smith, who, albeit he hadn't had a good season last season, but he went on to do pretty damn good things with Seattle. And then Sam Darnold went on. You guys just will never amount to anything.
I like it.
A Pats Seahawks Super Bowl would just, no matter who wins, the city of East Rutherford, New Jersey is just going to fall into a chasm. It will cease to exist, like, no matter who wins. Like, it's the anti-Jet Super Bowl. And why?
As long as you record it. As long as you record it. I want to just have a scene out of Batman where the damn city just caves in.
Yeah.
Just keep the cameras rolling. All right. Anything else from this game? I think we're good.
Let's move on. We're going to need to hustle.
How about we just get right into the house cleaning then? Just general NFL news. We won't even take a break. Some interesting stuff out of the Bills camp. Bills owner Terry Pegula thought it was a great idea to do an owner's press conference. And, it's these are really fun because owners aren't really that media savvy, really, or sometimes not that media savvy. And if you're Terry Pegula, you decide that, well, today I'm going to make it a point to pin the drafting of my second round wide receiver who seems to have an attitude problem on the head coach that I just fired and the rest of his coaching staff. So that's fun. I think the loser in all of this, of course, is Keon Coleman. He's kind of just Obviously, when you look at this season, it wasn't great, and he had some issues. He was a healthy scratch for 2 games, and a lot of questions start coming up. But what year is this? Year 2? I'm already blanking on what year he is.
2. This is a second.
Yeah,
year.
this being year 2, next year, year 3. I think it would be smart not to be dogging on this young receiver, by the way, still a young receiver, still trying to make his way. If it's one thing that you bench him and try to get his mind right, that's one thing. But to then dog on him in the offseason right after the season ends, what the hell? Adam, you look like you're ready to talk off a cliff on this one.
Yeah, I was just going to say we can just keep this as an open conversation. We don't need to go around the table because this is, I feel that we have all the same thoughts generally. But I did pick this Bills team to next season have a bounce back year. I figure if you have the elite quarterback, the rest of the rebuild or the reload takes 2 seconds. But this is not a good start. And I'm going to make a quick prediction. I think they're going to figure it out anyways. Because some way, somehow, if you have the quarterback, we've seen Aaron Rodgers with the inept Packers, they figure out a way to stay in contention. And they're going to find a way to find that number 1. And they're not going to learn from their mistakes, just like the Packers always do. They fall on that one elite quarterback, and they make all of these organizational mistakes. They piss people off, and it still somehow works out. They fall just short, and they keep doing the same things. It's gonna happen the same way. This is part of why. It's good to have the elite quarterback, but I'm just saying if you're inept and the quarterback still makes the team look good, then they're never gonna change. And that's kind of the spot the Packers are in. The Bills are in danger of falling in that same spot.
I will say, though, that Bean, you could tell he's media trained because the way he handled himself, whether it's his fault or not, is how you're supposed to handle yourself. However, the Bills owner is a complete ass.
Oh, yeah.
The guy's still on your roster, and you're slamming him. And we've seen what happens when you just let the kid develop. Julian Edelman, we didn't know what he was going to be. Keyshawn Booty. Look what he's turned out to. You cannot say these type of things or whatever it may be, whether you're backing him or not, that there's still development that needs to be had. He could turn into a star. Exactly. So if he turns out to be a star, you just made an ass of yourself. These are type of things that's like, oh, crap, I just put my foot in my mouth. It's really bad. Like being a free agent or being a draftee, how do you feel confident going to a franchise that dogs a second-year wide receiver that, whether he has maturity issues or not, he's still young?
I think the wildest part, even too, like you normally hear anybody, front office, owner, GM, you don't hear really anyone talk about a player in this light as Terry Pegula is with Keon Coleman. Usually they wait till after they're not on the team anymore to even be dogging on him like this. CJ, you have anything you wanted to add to this?
Yeah. I don't think we can overstate enough just how terrible it must be. Like, imagine for Keon Coleman. Now imagine, put yourself in Keon Coleman's shoes. And the most well-known discourse about you isn't even where you're going to develop. Do you have an attitude problem? It's your ex-head coach, your current owner and current GM pointing fingers at each other like, no, it's your fault we drafted him. No, it's your fault. Well, he sucks. It's your fault. He sucks so much you should get fired. What's that going to do? And I said this to you guys off camera, but I'll say it again for the audience. If Keon Coleman flames out and becomes a bust, I genuinely can't blame him because this team has already signaled they have no faith in you after.
He already is kind of a bust. It seems like I'm not trying to back the owner here, but take away what the owner just said. Just go back in time 2 days, and your opinion on Keon Coleman would be the guy's been an ass. He's been lazy. He's been a terrible leader. He hasn't been anything he was supposed to be. So it sounds like he's pissed some people off. He's been a healthy scratch how many times?
At least
I'm
two.
just saying, what's that?
It was at least 2.
Twice.
Right.
But then again, he's still young. Like like we say he's ass now, but I usually make my assumption of players after year 3. And if he can, I mean, he can put in the groundwork, and he's still young. And I'm not saying I didn't want us to draft him, but I'm saying that like it's. I mean, I think it's a little too early to call him a bust.
So after year 3, how about Jalen Polk or Javon Baker? Because the Patriots kind of did the same reverse, except they didn't say public terrible things about.
Yeah, but we didn't
kind of
set them
moved
up
on
for
from.
any type of success. Like it's like we just and when you have a coaching staff that's led by Gerard Mayo and first-time head coach, first-time signal caller, first-time DC, I mean, I don't know if anybody could truly develop them, especially with so much dysfunction and finger pointing.
Yeah, 100%.
So do you think that they got the wrong guys when it comes to that, or is it more so that they couldn't develop them? Because they could have stuck with them, and then you have Josh McDaniels who's working with them, and then maybe things are a little better.
I think Josh McDaniels can turn anybody into a good player if given the right attitude out of that player. I'm sorry, I've seen the guy do it too many times.
So do you think that if they held on to Jalen Polk, then maybe that could have? Because I don't think so. I don't think that Jalen Polk was anything. I never liked the pick, to be honest.
I don't think we were going to keep him. I don't think we were going to keep him to begin with because of maybe their attitudes, maybe their how they operate on social media, and because they weren't drafted under the regime of how it's currently constituted, that like they want their own guys.
So if I may, Rob, that is just my point, because what I was saying is Keon Coleman was a healthy scratch. It seems like there's something happening within the organization where he's pissing some people off and they don't want him even in a uniform. I mean, that's kind of like, I'm not saying Terry Pegula was right. All I am saying is that there has to be something that happened for him to piss off the entire organization, to the point where they don't even want him dressing. This is a second overall pick. This is a second round pick, a guy who was just drafted 5 minutes ago. And they're already saying, we don't want this guy dressing and even giving us a chance to win.
Very valid point.
But that's just my thoughts. But
Thoughts indeed. In terms of other news, NFL award finalists got released. I'd say probably the biggest thing out of this, outside of like Coach of the Year, which ended up being 3 first-year head coaches being in the mix: Ben Johnson, Liam Cohen, Mike Vrabel. No big surprise there. The one other thing that probably caught most people's eye was MVP and Offensive Player of the Year. Drake May is up for MVP and Offensive Player of the Year. Matt Stafford is only up for MVP. And I know Adam,
that's just another way of saying that Drake May is not getting MVP.
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah.
Wait, I want to get your thought. I want to get your thoughts on this, because we were going back and forth in our group chat, but so my thought process was that these voters are all voting for the same things. They put Drake May on 2 different ballots, on MVP and Offensive Player of the Year. They discluded Matthew Stafford. And to further add to this point, the all-pro splits based on who won it and who came in second were the exact same as Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, which Lamar got all-pro. Josh Allen didn't. Josh Allen got MVP. My thought process is this is more pro Drake May MVP than anything. But I just wanted to get your thoughts on that kind of narrative, because that's kind of my thought process there.
I don't think it's pro Drake May at all, because of this whole narrative about the schedule and this, that, and the other, without taking all the other things into context, like who the hell he's throwing to, like Matt Stafford being in that system for how many years now? Drake May had to basically learn a whole new system, a whole new this, whole new that, and what he's over. I mean, Stephon Diggs, nice receiver, but he's no Puka Nacua, no Devontae Adams. Who like if we're gonna compare rosters, Drake May's running for his life. Yes, okay. So average pressure for the Patriots offensive line in the regular season was 2.4 seconds. When you go look at his time to throw, it's 2.8 seconds. That means he's having to run for his damn life for about a half a second to throw the damn ball. And not only is he doing that, he has 100 less pass attempts. And if you can't tell me that he had 100 more pass attempts, he wouldn't be a little bit more closer to how many touchdowns he is. How many 1-yard touchdowns does Matt Stafford has? I'll answer the question. It's 13. This guy is, and you could see that like Sean McVay was really like, okay, we need to get him this MVP. So let's stat pad in this game against the Cardinals and throw as many goddamn balls as he possibly can.
But doesn't that mean that if they have Drake May up for Offensive Player in the Year and not Matthew Stafford, doesn't that mean the voters believe in Drake May and they see through the easy schedule and doesn't that mean that they see through it?
I mean, I surely hope so. But then I seen a voter that came out on Twitter and he said, well, I'm paraphrasing, obviously, basically was making it a note that Drake May being sacked as much as he is was on him. And I know a lot of those sacks can be put on him because he likes to extend the plays, but they're not taking into consideration all the factors. They're just reading 46, 48 touchdowns, 10 touchdown discrepancy, and I've seen fans and I've seen the discourse completely throwing out the 400 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns that he has on the ground, like it didn't exist, and how Josh Allen, when you do the side-by-side comparison against Lamar Jackson last year when there was the MVP discussion, Josh Allen did not beat him in just about any statistical category, but they still gave it to Josh Allen. So if we're keeping a spade and we're keeping that as the precedent, where the hell outside of passing touchdowns and Maywood, I think he had a little bit more passing yards, does Matt Stafford have Drake May beat?
Well, doesn't that mean that they would be staying consistent here? Because I think Josh Allen was the MVP over Lamar Jackson just because he had Josh Allen had a worse situation than Lamar Jackson did. He just put up better statistics. Josh Allen was able to finish as a higher seed despite working with a worse record. And the voters saw that. And this is kind of a similar situation. Drake May has a higher seed. He has a worse supporting cast. And he managed to take the team based off the eye test. You could see Drake May was the better player, and he would be the most valuable player. But Matthew Stafford has the more touchdown passes, and touchdown to interception ratio is the one that is the sexier stat that catches people's eyes. But if the voters actually see through that, then that would mean, just like last year, that Drake May would win MVP rather than Matthew Stafford.
I hope. At the end of the day, I hope. But then again, there's a storyline going around, and even Tom Brady said it. Drake May's young; he'll have another chance. If that is the narrative, if that is the narrative, can I curse on here?
I think you cursed already, so
okay.
You're good.
Okay, I apologize, but
no, you're good.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit. It's bullshit.
I try to keep people from doing it, but I've given up a long time ago.
Okay, well, it'll be my last time, but like it is BS because
I agree.
That should not be the reason why. This is not a career award. This is a what have you done this year award. I'll leave it at that.
I agree. I hope they don't give it based off that.
They won't.
I still think Matt Stafford's
he's gonna win it.
I still think Stafford's had an amazing year, and if he did win it, and they're saying, okay, we're giving it to him based on what he's accomplished, okay, sure. But I would disagree. But I'd say, all right, fine. If they're saying, well, he's had a great career, he hasn't won it yet, let's give it to him. Drake May's going to have another opportunity. I'd say, dude. What is this MVP award becoming? But I think, if I may just add one other narrative to this MVP conversation, because I was going to tie it into my opening take for the AFC and NFC championships. But let's say in a world that the Patriots and the Rams are facing off against each other, which, by the way, amazing storylines, because you have the battle of the top two MVP candidates. if you're a Patriots fan or a Rams fan, you don't want that MVP award, because I know people call it a curse, but I think there is some legitimate correlation to why MVPs don't win Super Bowls, because the team is relying on them to come through. And if you're relying on Drake May to win you the game, which they have been, but their defense has been coming through, and their pass catchers, it turns out they're a lot better than we thought. If it turns out, and I agree wholeheartedly, the Rams, when Matthew Stafford doesn't play well, it's hard for them to win. So let's say Milton Williams breaks through into the interior 1,000,000 times and destroys Matthew Stafford. Let's say Drake May wins MVP, and let's say his fumbling problems come out again, or he gets through the front seven, gets through to Drake May, and it actually costs him this time. I think there is some water held into winning MVP. I think if you're a Patriots fan, you don't want that award. I think if you're a Rams fan, you don't want that award. Keep it away. Keep it on the other side. And then the narrative, you have a target on your back if you win it, and the other team can use that as bulletin material. Drake May, you didn't win MVP. Why don't you go out there and prove who was the MVP?
So you're saying that on either side of the aisle, it ends up being a switch of a mindset a little bit.
I think it's bulletin material for the other side, doesn't it?
Well, that's what I mean. It's like you're
100%.
saying that it's bulletin for one side, and on the other,
You have a little
mindset
extra
is like,
pressure.
I'm going to rely on you more.
A lot more pressure.
Yeah.
A lot more pressure. You're the MVP. Go play like the MVP.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I think
the Super Bowl is already a big enough. The Super Bowl is already a big enough stage, and I'm nervous for Drake May winning it, because I think, again, he's a kid. Losing Super Bowls this early in your career is tough enough. I think if you win MVP and then also lose the Super Bowl, I think I'm not saying it will. I think that could cause some psychological issues, and then making it back there might be tough again. I think there's some correlation there. All I'm saying is you may not want the MVP award if you're a fan of the team that the player is on. That's all I'm saying, especially if you're Matthew Stafford or Drake May.
All I ask is that voters have to write at least 2 pages as to why they picked who they picked.
I agree with that.
I like that a lot.
That was my only last take on that, because it's like, I want you to give me an in-depth analysis, and I don't want you just point out touchdowns. It needs to be, and it better not be fillers. Like, you could kind of, that kid definitely just made up some BS to get his paper done. No, I want to see what you have to write. Give me a reason, or not even make them write a paper. Like, give me bullet points as to why you picked who you picked.
250.
And you have to give
Yep.
There you go.
250 word synopsis. If you have to turn it in.
MLA formatting.
Yeah, exactly.
Or put them on the spot. Have them
That too. I
speak.
like that even better.
And
I like
that
even
will
better.
also determine if that person should get their vote again. Also, they're weighted votes. So I see Drake May never falling below 2. I could see one where Stafford falls below 2 across the 50 votes.
Right.
It just depends on whether or not Josh Allen or Christian McCaffrey steal a vote away.
Yeah. All right. I've pretty much made my case. But yeah, let's see what happens. It's going to be an interesting honors ceremony. So
100%. CJ, I feel like we've neglected you for the last.
I
minutes.
mean, I've already said my case like a billion times before. You know what I think? I can't say anything you guys haven't already said. It's just more of a, all right. Yeah, whoever gets it, gets it. I am kind of wary about the curse and the pressure that comes with it. Curse or not, like, you want the fire under them. And we do have some other like housekeeping stuff to just rapid fire before we end. And we're still under an hour 10. We could just do it. Chris, if you want me to like fire off just some quick bullet points here.
Yeah, you can fire it off. Ravens just hired a new head coach,
Quick,
Jesse
though.
Minter, correct?
Yeah. Yes, that's right. So, but we'll go chronological order. Since last episode, lightning round here. Detroit Lions hired Drew Petzing as offensive coordinator. Mike McDaniel was actually in the running, and there was like a personality difference allegedly between him and Campbell. Shocker. Chiefs bring back a familiar face as OC, Eric Bieniemy. How do you like that?
Great
The
for them.
original Mahomes maestro or Mahomes merchant, depending on how you look at it. And we have yet another head coach hiring. The Miami Dolphins, who moved on from the aforementioned Mike McDaniel, hire Jeff Hafley as Packers defensive coordinator, or former Packers defensive coordinator. We'll see. Think it might have been a little early, but in other head coaching news, Robert Saleh finally getting another shot. Or finally, it's only been a year, but he will now be the head coach of the Tennessee Titans. Hopefully, he doesn't get jetsed again. We can only hope.
We're going to need
Speaking of
Blaine
Mike
Bishop back on the
McDaniel
pod
from
for that one.
earlier, he's going to be the new offensive coordinator of the LA Chargers. Wow, give your big armed quarterback a pass first offensive coordinator. Genius. And this is 2-for-1 here about the Falcons. Atlanta Falcons have hired former Browns offensive coordinator Tommy Rees to be their new OC with Kevin Stefanski. And their old OC, Zach Robinson, is now the offensive coordinator for the division rival Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So do with that what you will. And Cowboys grabbed the Eagles defensive back coach, Christian Parker, to be their new defensive coordinator. Gotta love when you can poach a coach from a rival. Always a good day. And finally, this was just before we started recording, the Baltimore Ravens are officially full into the post-Harbaugh era as they have hired Chargers defensive coordinator Jesse Minter as their new head coach. And that's housekeeping, kids.
You kind of called it, CJ, that Harbaugh's, at least the defensive coordinator, was going to get poached.
Mm-hmm.
I love the Eric Bieniemy signing. I wanted him to be the Patriots' head offensive coordinator, if not Josh McDaniels. I honestly think he's so good. You can draw a line in Patrick Mahomes statistics from Matt Nagy to Eric Bieniemy, but
Wasn't Nagy getting calls for head coach?
he was.
Inexplicably, yes. And he probably might get a role.
Disgusting. That's
Hot commodity, God knows why. Like, there's, like Adam said, you could literally draw a line for where Mahomes falls off after Bieniemy leaves and Nagy comes in.
And for when all their star players started to age or got traded, but you know, it's
yeah. There's a lot of different factors. So we could save that for a different day when we preview the Chiefs in like 3 months. All right.
not Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, without
Yeah.
Preview his ACL.
Yeah, we'll preview the ACL. That's all the scheduled content that we have for you today. Rob, thanks again for joining us. You want to plug your content while you're at it, or plug anything? That
I mean, it's right down there below. Patriots with a 7 instead of the last T. It's a 7S. So it's really that. I'm on all platforms pretty much, and DM me whatever you guys. I respond to all DMs.
I like it. Don't be afraid to hit up Rob. He's going to respond to you. Maybe very nicely, maybe not. We'll see. Depends on what your take is.
We'll see.
We'll see. That'll do it for us today. Thank you for tuning in to another Friday episode of the Fumblerooski podcast. New episode coming out on Tuesday at 8 a.m. And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We also have all our episodes available on Spotify, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and anywhere that you can stream podcasts. Be sure to follow our Instagram, Fumblerooski_podcast, to keep up with the pod and the latest coverage on the NFL. Otherwise, we will see you on Tuesday. Over and out.